Hello. Today I am doing a video about ADHD and childhood mental health issues that come to the attention of parents when their children go to school. So I want to kind of preface this in the direction I want to kind of speak of. I'm going to kind of narrow it down again. Really what I'm asking the cards right now is ADHD really an indication of an indigo child? And for several reasons, I think that anytime you're seeing a large shift in behavior, in this sense, in children, it's probably relevant to ask ourselves why. And we do live in a spiritual microcosm that basically how we live our lives, the things we do, the things we say, our words, many things that make up our total experience. We're rather uneducated. And I say that because I myself was diagnosed as a child with learning disabilities, and much of my childhood was in the library behind a screen looking at flashing pictures. As an adult, I still don't really know what that was for. I'm just kind of thinking to myself, interesting experience, but yeah, I'm not sure if it helped anything. Just not sure that worked very well, but you know, they were doing what they could for me, you know, and I'm not going to fault anyone for trying, right? We try, we do the best we know how. But I discovered somewhere along the way that, oh boy, hang on. That I was kind of different, that I'm different in ways that are complicated. I've had people tell me that I vibrate kind of funny. I don't like the feel of my vibration. I feel like it's a little intense. And I've always been this way. And, you know, I always thought something was wrong with me. But I never really thought, no, that's not it. And I've come around to the idea that I think differently because, honest to goodness, that's what God made me to be, different. He made me to be who I am. And I've come to terms with I need to embrace me and be grateful to have it, to be grateful to be here. And when I started taking that picture of life, this has been many years ago, there started to be this talk of indigo people, indigo children, indigo energy. And it was generally a young person conversation. But now there are some indications that there were early pioneers. And, well, I would be one of those. I actually view myself a little differently than an indigo at this time. I view myself more in the Atlantean priestess category. There's just been things that in my life have happened that have been extraordinarily difficult and have led me to have to really see things from a balanced perspective. And had I not done the work I've done, I don't know that I would be here. I probably would have committed suicide or some other thing a long time ago because it's hard. It's hard to hear on a wholesale basis from people. Well, yeah, I don't really want to get to know you. You make me feel a little uncomfortable. I don't know what it is about you, but yeah, I feel kind of exposed. I feel like you're gonna see right through me. I mean, as a high school student, not that I want to spend a lot of time on me, but I want to lay the groundwork for why we need to talk about this. As a student in high school, I made friends like all people do, and I made friends with a family that later on almost immediately ran right into my psychic skills. This was as a teenager. They were my age, obviously. One the boy was 1 year older and 1 grade ahead, and the daughter was my age and in my grade, and in fact we shared some similarities in our birth dates, so we were quite bonded. And at some point along the way, Carl, my dear friend Carl, who was her brother, said to me, "You know, you really bug me. You think you're better than me. You really think you're better than all of us." And I remember thinking to myself, why would someone say that to me? I don't feel like that. I don't see life that way. But I had no idea that we are mirrors, we're reflectors. We directly reflect that energy we have within us. And, well, a higher energy is going to be uncomfortable to some people. And as an answer to this confrontation that I got into, it was within weeks that Carl, this young man who talked to me about my energy and it bothering him, I was, not to be gross or speak about things that are really not anybody's need to know, I was in the bathroom and it came over me. I left my body. I left my body and I was immediately in a police car. I was where the action is actually taking place real time. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, I'm losing, excuse me, I'm losing my mind. I do apologize. I apologize. I needed to stop the recording. I'm in California, and we have a lot of smoke in the air. And I'm currently having some major medical issues, so the smoke has really been hard for me to deal with. It's not so bad today, but my body has basically recognized that there's a problem out there, and I need to probably take care of my body. But anyway, so in this astral projection that took place, and you know, I'm a child. I'm basically 15 years old. I have no skills other than this experience just happened to me. And I remember thinking to myself, how odd that of all things that I'd have this, I'd get told like I did, and then this experience happened almost to remind me that your gifts do come with some consequences. They're not free. And I think it's difficult to be a psychic because I think that largely it's a skill that I can't prove. You may feel like I'm full of shit, which you're welcome to. I don't really care. But at the same time, I can understand why you might, you know, because I can't prove anything I'm saying. It's not provable. But at that point, at any rate, what my question is to the cards is ADHD really a part of the Indigo process? Is ADHD an Indigo process? I personally think yes, it is. Now, of course, I wasn't ever diagnosed with ADHD. That was never something that was an issue for me. I was always very compliant as a child. I always wanted to get along, and I always understood I was different. And so here we go. Is ADHD really basically an Indigo child? Is there another way to think of it? And so here we go. We start out with this Seven of Pentacles, this hard work of the earth, this balance of power between the earth itself and the items within it. And what it is crossed by is the Four of Winds. the structure. Now, that to me is fascinating because I've often felt, now my son, who has also been diagnosed, he was diagnosed with ADD, which means attention deficit disorder, without hyperactivity. And and at the time, I remember saying to the doctors, the IEP team, because he was in a special classroom, um, that I felt like the structure that they wanted in the classroom was more important to them than the actual individual child. And that giving that child a pill basically allowed the teacher to more easily do her job. And I felt like it was a cop out. And so, well, quite frankly, it pissed me off. I had several fights with the psychiatrist and the IEP team over it because they were asking me to poison my child. Now, I will say, in all fairness, that I did try it. And my son's feedback was just not good. He was just like not having it. And he reminds me still today about when he took Ritalin. Okay. And so, in many regards, was I wrong to give him that medication? Yes, in fact, I was. I felt a lot of pressure, and in fact, I got into a lot of trouble over the years because of this. It's actually done a good deal to harm me to not be compliant, but whatever. I mean, that's my child. I'm the expert. I decide. And if the doctor can't prove to me that my child has a condition for which a pill is going to be an answer to, I am probably not going to be very willing. Okay, so that's just the way life goes. Okay, and in a past position, this very mature bull here, and how we treat the planet, the King of Pentacles, how we have been interacting on planet Earth physically. This card suggests that it kind of reached its pinnacle. It just kind of reached a point where, yeah, it's time to maybe make a change. Okay, a bull is a very stubborn thing. It's a very big thing. It's in your face, you know, and maybe the established needed to be changed. Maybe that's largely what we're talking about here. Also, in a recent past position, Page of Swords, that little bird running fast, representing that ADHD, that zippy energy, that fast-paced movement that ADHD is famous for. And I personally think it's just a frequency myself. I mean, I know that I vibrate a little differently, and I can't help it. I just do, and you know, it's caused some issues over the course of my life where people have said things to me that have been kind of uncomfortable. Like, you know, I feel uncomfortable around you. I don't know why. I feel exposed by you, and I don't know why. You know, like things like that. And you know, and I'm not by any means sitting there judging anyone at any time. I mean, my mind might be on daffodils and flowers, you know, and you feel like I'm judging you. And it's just an odd situation in that sense, because I might not even have the slightest thought about that. In fact, I do try very hard to keep my energy clean if I can. I use crystals, I use onyx, I'm constantly warded physically because I just believe as a light worker, it is your duty to keep your energy as clean as possible. So with that, that is interesting that energy, that running bird, I can't remember what those birds are. Oh man, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, and there we go in the below position, 6 of Swords. That yes, there are a lot of hot words. Is this that come out of an indigo or not an indigo? An attention deficit disorder, about attention deficit disorder? Yep, there's a lot of hot words. Probably some are true, some are not. But ADHD, is it an indigo process? Are these young people, and I believe they might be. I mean, I have never really fallen for this is a real thing that is medical in nature. I have, however, fallen for this is a spiritual progression that is necessary to advance us as humans. So our young people really, truly are our hope for the future. And what an odd thing to say, because we tend to think of our children with ADHD as our bad kids. No, they're not. No, they're not. There are passionate children. There are children that have something in them that is special and different. And now, when I say special and different, I do want you to avoid special and different. That's me. I'm a narcissist. You know, no, don't go there, because a lot of us are narcissists. We all have the tendency. We love to think we're something extraordinarily special. And probably, well, let me say this. You are extraordinarily special. You are a piece of God having a Christ-like experience. So yes, you are special. But let's keep it in context. So is the person sitting next to you and sitting in front of them, and so on and so forth. So specialness in that sense, let's be clear, is not, I'm not talking about the narcissistic special. I'm talking about a different type of special. Okay, and in the near future, these children with ADHD are going to bring us justice. Now take just a quick note of it's a stork birthing something new. And take note of the color, that just ever so slight indigo image in the background. It's just ever so slight. And then that halo blue in the background. Are they indigos? Yes, they are. Yes, yes, they are. And at the heart of it, it's earthwork. It's about helping the citizens, the souls on earth. It's about helping the earth itself. That at this time, it is necessary for us to have this help. Because we are going to experience a tower moment. Now, this hasn't happened yet. This is incoming. This is an incoming tower moment. Okay, Spirit. So we're going to further clarify on what is the tower moment that these indigo children are here for, because I believe that is true. And in our hopes and fears, now I've been getting this for the past 2 days in my readings, where I'm asking these deep esoteric questions. The star, in our hopes and fears position, I get the star. And for me, oh, throwing my cards around. If you take note, there's a big crystal, see, growing up out of the side. So, and then you see this lighthouse and the ocean in the background. What are they here for? Well, in our hopes and fears, the water could be collective consciousness. The star could be that there are divine hope. The lighthouse could be that they're here to guide our way. But in our hopes and fears position, they are our hope. In our conclusion position, we have a 10 of Wands. That we've overburdened the planet. We've overburdened individuals. We ask them to produce more. We give them less. We expect more even still. And we give them even less. And at some point, it's not workable anymore. And thus, we have massive homelessness. The money is so tightly controlled and it's so heavily to the top side now that there's not enough left for the functioning of the citizens of the world. But where we want to go, because I do want to avoid the political, because I just get really upset about it, and it's just not, I don't need to be triggered. But we're going to ask Spirit, tell me, we're going to use the After Tarot, about the Tower moment that I see here, that these children, these indigos and starseeds, and a number of other ways of expressing light bringers, what is it that they are, what is this tower moment that is being referred to in this spread? Help me understand the tower moment. Spirit, just help me to see what it is that's a tower. Okay, so our first card is our structure is harming us. The way our system is set up, it's not designed to help us as souls flourish. So that's the first thing. That's right off the bat. So the first part of the tower has to do with how the structure of our society has been put in place. And the earth is basically asking for new beginnings. The earth is saying, I can't do this anymore. I need assistance, please. And so it sends something from out of the sky. That's a beetle that it sends from out of the sky, but something new. And we're going to call that the light workers that can just kind of get around, get under things, get through things, and kind of put light where maybe it wasn't so prevalent. Okay? So again, tell us about, Spirit, this tower moment that children with ADHD specifically are here to help us with. Oh, this is precious. Okay, this is the Hierophant, which is generally going to be seen as your governmental systems, your school systems, your organized systems that are in place that provide you the rules and the structure and the way forward. This card is suggesting that this is in our way, that this is a problem, that this isn't properly representing the needs of the development of the people. So interesting. And the people, because of this, have become embattled. The people have become, well, we fight with words. So that's interesting. And that's a Knight of Swords and a Page of Swords. And so it's almost as if this energy here, the Knight is like a little more mature, fast moving, has a little more purchase. And so I would say that represents the way we've been handling life, which is, if you look at this is brutal. It's bloody and brutal and harsh. You know, we treat each other very harshly. And a newer, kinder, gentler, similar energy, but not the same. It's a little younger. It's as if the energy in some ways is being remade to meet the needs in a simpler way. Okay, so tell me about this tower moment. Is it simply that we've just lost our way and we treat each other poorly and we need a correction, Spirit? What is it? Is it to wake us up? Yes, Spirit is saying absolutely yes, it's to wake you up. I know that for my son, I always just felt it's judgment. It's about judgment. Spirit, tell me more. I mean, we get tower, we get the judgment. Let's see, we're going to pull out a different deck. The tower, we get the judgment, and now we are going to get out. Let's see here. I think this deck was good for this. Yes, in fact, it's the best one for this. All right. Okay, Spirit, so tell me why we have judgment upon us. When I'm asking a question about indigo children, you're showing me that this is a form of judgment. Is judgment in this case correction? Well, again, we get this King of Pentacles, how the structures of how we've managed Earth, how we gather, how we get oil, how we do electricity, how we do everything. Is it in our highest good? That's a question I think that we fail to actually ask ourselves. Is it in our highest good? And the Earth is saying, I can't take what you're doing to me anymore. You have become like devils on my back. And so, yes, I called out and I asked for some gentler, kinder souls to come in and help with the souls that are wandering and lost. So, in that sense, the Earth and its people are lovers. We're intertwined. We need each other to function. And if we don't have each other to function, we cease to be. Okay. So right now, it would be arguable that we have maybe been in a lover's quarrel with Earth. We have failed as stewards of the Earth to properly care for her because of our greed. And we all have it. None of us are free of guilt. None of us. I have to ask myself on a regular basis, did you remember the bag for the grocery store? And of course, right now in California, we're not allowed to bring our bags in because of COVID. But, you know, the little things. Again, I dropped my cards. It's the little things. And what I have found to deal with the COVID grocery bag thing is I just don't put my groceries in a bag until I get to my car. And then I bag them all up. So what? You know, it's a little minor alteration of my day, but it's not anything too major, okay? So as lovers, we are in illusion and delusion. We think we understand this planet that we live on. I think we think of it as just a rock floating in space, and that it has no sophistication. I think we're pretty narrow-minded this way. And it isn't just a rock floating in space. In fact, I think it's a living being. And when you consider that it might really be a living being that is allowing us to live on its back, you might want to get a little bit of respect going, because maybe that's what you're talking about here, okay? So, and basically, the Earth said no more, and almost from a deeply spiritual place, requested something new be brought in. And here it is. This is the ADHD, but again, notice the blue. They're indigos. They're not ADHD. They don't need to be labeled. In fact, we're doing them no good to label them. Okay. So, and again, we get this Ace of Pentacles. The Earth needs a new beginning. The Earth needs a new start. And in order for the Earth to have a new start, the lovers she has on her back need to have new energy. They need to have good energy. They need to really be in love, not only with the Earth, but with themselves. Love would fix this problem we're having. And then we have, again, that Eight of Wands being, or Eight of Swords being tied up by our own doing. But Spirit is merciful. Spirit is kind and gentle. And if you notice, this person who's tied with their hands in front and their eyes lightly covered by a bandana, and in the front, the opening is just there. They can just step out from whatever it is. There's no reason for us to stay in despair. And Spirit and Earth itself has given us all kinds of ways to go forward. So yes, the indigos are a gift to us, and here we are. Here it is. It is the three of wands. It's that calling out, that asking for and receiving the assistance that the earth needed and wanted at this time. So when you have a child that has ADHD, think real long and hard before you put them on medication, because probably there's something right with them and probably something wrong with those that are asking them to be medicated. So, and I realize that that is just a sort of an outrageous thing to say, but no, it is not in another way. And be clear, Two of Cups. These relationships with your children over whether or not there's such a thing as ADHD or whether or not it's a star seed or an indigo child, these things matter. These are about your relationships. And those things matter. And yes, we're getting ready due to these children and their beautiful energy they bring to us to move on to calmer waters, to move on to a new energy, a new type of time. So, you know, I realize that, there's a lot of talk about the great feminine rising and, all various ways that we say things that, sounds like we're exalting the feminine energy and so on. And I think that I don't want to have it sound sexist. To me, I'm not comfortable with that because there's just as many men that provide something beautiful to life as there are women, and it's just that we're being taught not to look that direction because men are not supposed to have that soft and sensitive part. But in fact, we are soft and sensitive. I'm married to my husband, whom I refer to as Mother Moon because he's such a gentle soul. So with that, I conclude. I would ask that you hit the like, share, and subscribe button. And also, if you would like to have a reading, please join me on www.twiggy.com, and that's TWIGGIE. I am an astrologer. I do a full range of astrology readings. And in this, to make a note of this, there are certain indicators in a child's chart, natal chart, that do indicate that, in fact, no, that is not a diagnosable disease, but a particular planetary placement that looks a lot like the process called ADHD, which then again further makes it something that really should it be diagnosed, or should you be seeing a good astrologist? I will leave it there, and I thank you for joining me here today on my YouTube channel.